I'm Samuel Harrison. This video recounts my near-death experience and the insights I gained from it. After Jesus revealed the truth to me, I felt compelled to share it. The revelations are too important to keep to myself, especially in these critical times. On January 15, 2025, I was declared clinically dead for 9 minutes. During that time, Jesus Christ appeared to me and shared deep insights about the California fires. This encounter profoundly impacted my soul. Let me take you back to how it all started. For nearly 3 decades, I devoted myself to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection as a firefighter. It was more than just a job, it was my mission. Each time I confronted the infernos, I felt God's presence, guiding and shielding me. Even after retiring, I remained active as a consultant and trainer, eager to share my expertise with the new generation of firefighters. That January morning began like any other. I was heading to a local church to conduct a fire safety training session when something felt wrong. My chest tightened, and I found it hard to breathe. I pulled over, thinking I just needed a moment to recover. That's the last thing I remember before everything went dark. What happened next completely upended everything I believed about life, death, and the spiritual battle in California. The experience I'm about to share is so profound, so staggering in its implications, that I've spent countless hours in prayer, seeking the wisdom to convey it properly. But Jesus made it clear. This message must be told, no matter how inadequate words may feel to describe it. When I first lost consciousness, I wasn't met with darkness. Instead, I encountered light. It wasn't the harsh brightness of a hospital or the gentle glow of dawn. It was something entirely unique, a light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. This light wasn't just bright, it felt alive. It felt aware, as if it could see into my soul. In that moment, I understood what the Bible means by God being light. From above, I saw my body in the truck below, with people trying to help me. Yet, I felt no fear or panic, no attachment to my earthly form. What I felt was peace, a profound, indescribable peace. It wasn't just the absence of worry, it was something much greater. It felt like every burden and concern had been lifted away. But this was just the beginning. The scene below faded, and I was drawn upward through layers of reality. It wasn't like flying or floating. It felt like the fabric of existence was peeling back, revealing deeper truths. As I moved through these layers, the presence I felt grew stronger. It was unlike anything I had known in my earthly life. It was pure love, perfect and infinite. This love knew everything about me and loved me completely. And then, he appeared. Jesus Christ stood before me, or rather, his presence surrounded me. He wasn't confined to one place. He was everywhere, yet deeply personal and immediate. His appearance was both familiar and beyond description. The love emanating from him was so overwhelming that I would have fallen to my knees if I had them. His face held the power of the Creator, yet his eyes shone with infinite tenderness. They seemed to hold galaxies, yet when he looked at me, I felt like the only soul that existed. In his gaze, everything about me was laid bare, yet his love remained unshaken. "My child," he said, though no physical words were spoken. His voice resonated within my consciousness, carrying profound meaning beyond human language. "I have brought you here to uncover the profound meaning behind the California fires. What you are about to discover," he said, "must be conveyed to my people." In a flash, the surroundings transformed. Suddenly, we were observing California, not as it appears physically, but as it exists in the spiritual realm, a dimension filled with truths far deeper than what earthly eyes can see. What I witnessed nearly overwhelmed me. The fires tearing through the state were more than just physical. They were the visible signs of a much deeper spiritual conflict that had been brewing for ages. Jesus highlighted specific regions where the spiritual darkness was most concentrated. "Watch closely," he said. I noticed that these dark areas matched exactly with the places hardest hit by the fires. What I saw next was truly terrifying. Within the flames, there were entities, beings that were not of this world. They weren't the demons I had imagined, not the horned, grotesque figures from stories. No, these beings were far more menacing. They were like living shadows. writhing and twisting within the flames, growing stronger with every acre burned. These fires, Jesus explained, are not just natural disasters. They are physical manifestations of spiritual decay. The enemy has taken root in hearts that have turned away from truth, from love, from me. He showed me how these forces operated, subtly but effectively. They weren't starting the physical fires directly. There was no need for that. Instead, they influenced human decisions and actions, creating conditions where destruction became inevitable. These entities thrived on fear, anger, and most of all, spiritual indifference. Each choice to prioritize worldly ways over his ways gave them strength. "Look deeper," Jesus commanded. And then I could see how these entities operated in the spiritual realm. They whispered insidious lies into people's hearts. That God wasn't real, that truth was subjective, that personal comfort mattered more than spiritual growth. Each time someone embraced these deceptions, the spiritual darkness deepened, and the physical fires became more uncontrollable. But just as despair threatened to overwhelm me, Jesus revealed something that filled me with hope. Scattered across the darkness, I saw points of radiant light pushing back against the shadows. These lights, Jesus explained, are my people, individuals and communities who have kept their faith, who have made me the center of their lives, who walk in genuine relationship with me. In the places where these lights shone brightest, the spiritual entities were unable to hold their ground. The physical fires still came, but they couldn't unleash the same destructive force they did elsewhere. These areas endured trials, but were not consumed by them. "Watch carefully," Jesus said, and he showed me a series of visions that unfolded across time. I saw how, over generations, California had slowly turned away from true faith. The change hadn't been abrupt. It was gradual, almost imperceptible. People didn't openly reject God. They simply pushed him to the margins of their lives. I witnessed how they replaced sincere worship with entertainment, traded deep faith for superficial spirituality, and exchanged true community for shallow, digital connections. Jesus spoke again, his voice heavy with sorrow. "My church has too often chosen comfort over conviction, popularity over truth, and compromise over courage." He showed me how many who bore his name had replaced a vibrant relationship with lifeless ritual, genuine passion with hollow programs, and heartfelt worship with empty traditions. Then, with deep sorrow, Jesus revealed what would happen if this trend continued. The vision was harrowing. I saw fires spreading like never before, consuming not only forests and buildings, but tearing through the very fabric of society itself. These were no ordinary wildfires. They were fires of judgment, consuming everything that wasn't built on the unshakable foundation of true faith. Wise. But then, just as the vision seemed unbearable, Jesus revealed another way, the path to redemption. First, hearts must awaken. People need to return to God with genuine sincerity and desperation. Second, churches must become true places of prayer again, not just social gatherings. Third, families must rediscover the importance of faith communities, transforming their lives through the immense power of God's love. As these steps are taken, the spiritual atmosphere will change dramatically. The dark forces that thrived in the flames will begin to weaken and retreat. With faith restored, the physical fires, while still present, will become manageable again. Firefighting methods that had seemed ineffective will suddenly become successful because they will no longer contend with unseen spiritual forces. Jesus conveyed a crucial message that must be shared. The California fires cannot be extinguished by human efforts alone. No level of technology, advanced firefighting methods, or government actions can address the underlying issue. These fires serve as a warning and a call to return to faith. Jesus revealed the steps needed for this return to faith. It's not just about attending church more frequently or praying more often. It's about a profound, sincere transformation of the heart. Jesus illustrated what this change would look like in practice. Families were seen turning off their devices, kneeling together in prayer, and reconnecting with God. Churches opened their doors wide, inviting people to come and spend extended hours in prayer and worship, not just during scheduled services, but whenever they felt moved. Communities began to unite, sharing resources, supporting one another, and strengthening each other in faith. Most importantly, Jesus stressed that this renewal must start with individual hearts. Each person's decision to prioritize God created a ripple effect in the spiritual realm, weakening the forces fueling the fires. When enough individuals in a region chose to fully surrender to God, the spiritual atmosphere shifted, forming a protective barrier that the forces of darkness could not breach. But Jesus issued a solemn warning. Time is running out. The opportunity for this change is closing. He showed me the fires escalating beyond anything we have seen if his people failed to return to him wholeheartedly. These fires weren't just about destruction. They were both a consequence and a merciful warning, an urgent call to repentance. Then he showed me something that moved me to tears. I saw his immense love for every person in California, even for those who had turned away from him. His heart broke for every home reduced to ash, every life disrupted, every soul lost. Yet his love was perfect. And sometimes perfect love allows people to face the consequences of their choices so they might finally turn back to him. Remember, he said, these fires can be stopped, but not by human means alone. Tell my people that I am waiting with open arms. Tell them that genuine repentance and a return to faith will change everything. No political solution, no technological breakthrough, no human wisdom can solve what is, at its core, a spiritual problem. I urge everyone to heed this message and take the necessary steps to return to faith and transform their hearts. As the vision unfolded, Jesus revealed more about the spiritual renewal and the hope it brings. He stressed that merely attending church and performing rituals wouldn't suffice without a true transformation of the heart. He showed me how many churches had strayed from their original devotion. They had become preoccupied with activities, presentations, and appearances, neglecting the genuine relationship with him that should be central. I saw how this message would be received. Some would dismiss it, others would mock it. But those with open hearts would recognize its truth and respond. Jesus revealed that these individuals would become beacons of light in their communities, guiding others to understand and embrace the call to return to faith. As the vision intensified, he showed me the power of every heartfelt prayer, every genuine act of worship, and every moment of true repentance. These acts created a spiritual shield over areas, making it harder for the forces behind the fires to operate. But then, he showed me the alternative, the outcome for areas where this message would be rejected. In those places, the fires would worsen, defying logic and overwhelming even the best efforts to control them. Traditional firefighting methods would fail because the true root of the problem was not being addressed. The choice must be made soon, Jesus said. These fires are both judgment and mercy. Judgment on the spirit of worldliness that has infiltrated my church, and mercy, because they serve as a warning, a chance to turn back before it's too late. Jesus showed me that this return to faith wouldn't look like what many expected. It wasn't about following more rules or becoming more religious. It was about cultivating a personal, transformative relationship with him, one that touched every aspect of life. I saw people reordering their priorities, reshaping their daily routines, and living in ways that placed God at the center. This shift didn't just change individuals, it transformed entire communities. Where this happened, the spiritual darkness lifted, and the fires lost their destructive power, bringing hope for a renewed future. As I felt myself being drawn back to my body, Jesus gave me one final instruction. Tell them that I love them. Tell them it's not too late to return to me. But they must choose now. The time for complacency is over. The time for casual faith has passed. They must decide whether to serve me with their whole hearts or continue on their current path. His love was overwhelming, but so was the urgency in his voice. This wasn't a mere suggestion or a comforting thought. It was a matter of survival, both spiritual and physical. Just before the vision ended, Jesus spoke one last time. Remember everything I've shown you. Share it faithfully. Don't let fear of rejection stop you from speaking the truth. Those who are ready will understand. In essence, Jesus' message is this. He loves us deeply, and it's not too late to turn back to him. However, the decision must be made now. The era of complacency and half-hearted faith is over. We must commit to serving him fully, This is crucial for both our spiritual and physical well-being. Remember and share this truth with courage, regardless of rejection. Those who are prepared will comprehend. Suddenly, I found myself struggling to breathe as paramedics surrounded me. They later informed me that I had been clinically dead for 9 minutes. According to medical experts, I should have experienced brain damage due to the lack of oxygen. Instead, I returned with a clearer mind and an urgent message from Jesus. That's why I'm sharing my story with you now. The message Jesus gave me is meant for everyone who is willing to listen. This experience has been transformative, filled with profound reflection and revelation. The fires in California are more than just natural events. They are a spiritual alarm, a warning of what's to come if we don't return to God. Not just occasional church visits or routine prayers, but a transformative faith that puts Him first. I share this because I have to. Jesus made it clear that this message isn't mine to keep, it's for everyone. The time for indecision is over. Each of us must choose our path. The choice is yours, but remember what He showed me. Time is running out. The window for repentance is closing. But with every ending, there is a new beginning. May God bless you all, and may we choose the path of true faith while there is still time.